Welcome to Learning English with Captain Binoy Varakil, Assistant Professor, Department of English, St. Joseph's College, Varakil, Kerala. The previous lecture we studied in detail about the poetry of John Keats, and we analyzed the wonderful poem Ode to Autumn, and we have learned the three stanzas of this great poem in a very vivid graphic way, and we are right now ready for a critical analysis and appreciation of Ode to Autumn. Now we are having a one by one question answer session of the poem Ode to Autumn by John Keats, and we are of course focusing in this particular video lecture, critical analysis on the very questions in the course book of the first year degree students of the University of Calicut, Ways with Words. So we will be discussing each and every chapter, that is of course all the poems, short stories, essays, and the one-act play from this particular textbook, Ways with Words. And this series of lectures will be very helpful for the first year degree students of the colleges of University of Calicut. If you miss your online classes, or if you have some technical problem like lack of connectivity or power failure or anything of that sort, or if at all there are some students who are doing their higher studies, their degree courses in a distance education pattern, you have to of course depend on these lectures, and this will definitely help you to get a good score. So if you find this series of lectures in my channel useful, you can just tell your friends about the usefulness of these lectures. You can ask them to, of course, your friends to watch this channel or the videos, and it is going to help you tremendously. I'm sure all these lectures will help you and ensure that you are improving your English day by day, and you are coming closer and closer to your goal, that is to be a great leader, a successful individual who is contributing to himself, his family, and the country and the world. So with that purpose, I'm making all these videos. Listen the video lectures carefully, watch it repeatedly, and ensure that you improve your skills in the great English language, which is the global language. We are discussing the questions and answers of the poem Ode to Autumn by John Keats. First we have the objective type short questions. Thereafter we have of course questions to be answered in one or two sentences. Thereafter of course we have questions to be answered in paragraphs, and at last of course we shall be looking at the essay question. Now the first question: which year was the Ode to Autumn written? The publication or the writing of the poem Ode to Autumn, the year is 1819. Question number 1, answer is 1819. Now we have the second question: with whom was Keats engaged in 1819? And we have the answer: Keats was engaged in 1819 to Fanny Brown. Fanny Brown, F-A-N-N-Y-B-R-O-W-N-E, Fanny Brown. Next question is the figure of speech used in the line "the bosom friend of the maturing sun." The figure of speech in bosom friend of the maturing sun is personification. Personification. Okay, bosom friend of the maturing sun. Personification is a figure of speech in which human faculties, human qualities are attributed to inanimate objects and things, and here rather non-human things, creatures and objects. Here we have being a friend, and normally friends are human beings, and here this particular habit of being friend, making friendship with someone is given to the sun and the autumn season. And we can say that the bosom friend of the maturing sun is a personification in which the sun, the maturing sun, and the autumn season are close friends, bosom friends. We move on to the short questions now. First question: why is autumn called the season of mist and mellow fruitfulness? Autumn season is called the season of mist and mellow fruitfulness because everywhere, all around the farmhouses, houses, and in the gardens and orchards, and everywhere in Europe, we have the autumn season, and autumn season is soon going to be followed by the winter season. And of course, because of the presence, or rather because of the advance of the winter season, right, we have the mist in the atmosphere, in the air, and because there is mist, we are told that it is season of mist, and it is also, autumn season is also a season of mellow fruitfulness. Mellow means soft. All the fruits become ripe, and the ripeness is just entering, spreading everywhere in the fruit. And of course, all around we have mist, and all the fruits are ripe, and it is the right kind of, the best and perfect kind of ripeness, that there is some softness in all the fruits. And now that you have this is autumn season, a season of mist and mellow fruitfulness. It is said that autumn season is a season of mist and mellow fruitfulness. Who is called the bosom friend of the maturing sun? Second question: who is called the bosom friend of the maturing sun? Autumn season is the bosom friend of the maturing sun. What constitutes the music of autumn? So, the music of autumn is constituted by a lot of things. We have the last stanza, and in the last stanza we listen to the sound of the wind. The wind is blowing, and we also have the sound of the gnats, G-N-A-T-S. In the evening, it's twilight, and we listen to the wailful choir of the gnats, and we also listen to the beautiful songs of the birds. We have the songs of the redbreast, and we also have the song of the swallows twittering in the skies. Besides all this, we also listen to the bleating sound of the grown lambs, full-grown lambs. Okay, all other than that, we have the beautiful music of hedge crickets singing, and these are the music of autumn. Now we move on to the fourth question: which feminine image was used by Keats to describe the autumn? Keats uses the feminine image of a female pagan goddess, and we can see the female pagan goddess just walking in and around the farmhouses, sitting thoughtfully in the granary, and her hair is being lifted in the winnowing wind. We also have the female pagan goddess just walking, crossing the stream, carrying a load of grain, just sleeping, being roused by the fumes of poppy flowers. So also just looking at the cedar press, the last oozing of the air from the container from which the juice of the apple is just dripping down. So beautiful image of the female goddess, long hair and really wonderful. Now the next question, what makes the poet to put the question, where are the songs of spring? Normally, spring season there will be more sound and more music and more songs. And now the poet is asking, where are the songs of spring to help us understand that, okay, this is not in fact spring season, this is autumn season, and comparatively we have less song and less music in the nature, but autumn has its own music as well. And now that we don't have songs of the spring, the poet is asking, where are the songs of spring? Okay, and now we come to the next question. Explain, barred clouds bloom the soft dying day and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. It's a wonderful expression. It's in fact like a panoramic view of the horizon in the evening during the setting of the sun. But if we look at the sky, we can see the barred clouds blooming the soft dying day. The day is ending, or the year is ending because autumn season. And now the day is ending, it's evening. And now the sun is setting. And as the sun is setting, you look at the sky in the western horizon, you can see a lot of clouds, barred clouds, stripped clouds. And these clouds are looking like the flowers, and the poet is using a metaphor. Barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, and now we have touched the stubble plains with rosy hue. So we have the stubble plains, the farm, the terrain, the land and the sky is merging there, and that particular merging of the land and the sky is expressed in the words barred clouds bloom the soft dying day. And we are also said that it is rosy hue, the color is rose color, because the setting sun, the rays of the setting sun is just let on the entire surrounding, and the stubble plains look rosy color. Beautiful expression. Now we come to the next question. Why is it said that the summer has overbrimmed the clammy cells of bees? It's again another wonderful image from the autumn season, in which we have the scene of the bees. So we have the bees just dancing in the air, flying all across, buzzing all across, and they are collecting nectar and honey from the flowers. And all the collected nectar and honey from the flowers during the summer season, okay, has just ripened, or rather now all that nectar has transformed into honey, and the beehives or the honeycombs of the bees are full of sweet reddish honey, and that particular honeycomb beehives is just mentioned here, overbrimmed with clammy cells of bees. It is overflowing. The poet says that maybe the honey may just overflow. It is so ripe and okay, it is perfect, and the reference is to the honey in the beehives of bees. Next question, number 8. What is the wailful choir described by Keats in stanza 3. So the wailful choir described in stanza 3 is, of course, one of the musics of the autumn season, and the wailful choir is the choir of small gnats. Gnats, Gnats. Gnats are small little flies, very tiny, minute kind of flies that just live amidst the thick shrubbery or leaves and branches of the plants on the bank of streams and rivers. And in the evening, as it's becoming night, these small creatures become very active, and they just make a lot of very high frequency shrilling, shrieking voice. And the voice of these small little creatures is mentioned in the line as wailful choir. And according to John Keats, in this poem Ode to Autumn, this is one of the music of the autumn season. Now we are moving forward to the paragraph questions, and students, you have to be careful about the paragraph question. Please just answer to the very question. Now question is, how does the poet personify autumn in Keats' poem? This entire poem Ode to Autumn, the poem of John Keats, is totally enriched with a lot of beautiful personification expressions. Say for example, we have 3 stanzas. In the 3 stanzas, in all the 3 stanzas of 11 lines of iambic pentameter, John Keats is just personifying autumn season. Autumn season is presented as a person, or rather with a lot of human qualities, because stanza number 1 we have scenes from nature or the surrounding, scenes from the gardens and orchards, and there we see autumn season is conspiring with its close friend, and the close friend of autumn season is the maturing sun. And only friends are of course human beings, so the tendency and the faculty of being a friend, making friendship, is given to maturing sun as well as autumn. That is personification number 1. And thereafter, of course, we come to stanza number 2, and in stanza number 2, autumn season is shown as, painted as a beautiful pagan goddess, and autumn season as the pagan goddess, as a beautiful lady, is just traveling all around, all across. We see her in the field, we see her of course just sleeping very soundly, drowsed by the flowers of the poppies. She's sleeping in a farm which is half reaped, and we see also her reaping. We see her as a gleaner, we see her crossing the stream, brook. We also see her as a young goddess, a female goddess, waiting for the last oozing of the wine from the apple press, cedar press, right, the mill in which the apple wine is produced. So it's of course a wonderful poem with a lot of beautiful figure of speech, especially personification, and we can say that this poem is a great poem of personifications, right? Now we come to the second question. Comment on Keats' treatment of nature. The greatest romantic poets of the time, John Keats, has written a wonderful poem, Ode to Autumn. And as we know, romantic poets are just pantheists, rather they are worshipping nature. And here we have the worship of nature by John Keats. and John Keats is just praising nature because he worships nature. He sees God in nature, and he of course loves nature. His love of God, his love of nature, his worship of nature, his happiness in the ripeness of nature, his happiness in the changing seasons, and his happiness in the beauty of the changing seasons is expressed in the beautiful poem Ode to Autumn, and very, very beautiful and graphic and vivid brick by brick picture of the nature is in the 33 lines of the poem. It is of course a perfect poem because we have free stanzas of 11 lines in iambic pentameter, and he is treating nature in a wonderful way, in which we have somebody who is of course a worshipper of nature. He praises each and every scene is with a lot of joy, and of course he is painting, and we know the synesthetic sensuous aspect of the poem. The poem is appealing to our eyes in stanza 1, stanza 2, stanza 3. The poem is also appealing to our listening. We hear a lot of voice, especially in stanza 3. We also just taste, right? Like we have a lot of fruits, we have the smell, and smell is of course associated with food, yeah, and we have a lot of wine, honey, nectar, all this is, so we are all the senses, the five senses, right? We just move around, we see things, we just taste things, we just listen to, we just feel, touch, okay, and we perceive every aspect of the autumn season. And Keats is totally successful in commenting, or rather treating the autumn nature. Now we come to the third paragraph question. What characterizes music of autumn? The music of autumn is excellent, perfect. Autumn has its own music too, and we have beautiful music of autumn produced by the wind on the branches of the trees, the music of the bleating of the full-grown lambs, music of the gnats, music of the crickets, music of swallows, music of redbreast. In short, we can say that it's a wonderful poem that is appealing to all our senses, and the music of autumn is of course very, very appealing, and it is of course music produced by nature, produced from nature. Now explain the lyrical imagery in Ode to Autumn. So lyrical poems are poems which are of course sung to the accompaniment of lyres. Lyrical poems are poems which express very strong emotions, like the romantic poetry. Here, of course, we have very strong emotions. We have all right. We feel rather all the five senses. The readers and listeners of the poem, they can see, they can taste, they can feel, they can of course listen to, and we understand that it's in fact like Alan Tates's, it's a perfect piece of style, and it has a lot of lyrical quality. It is musical, there's music in it, there's perfect rhyme in it, iambic pentameter is used, and the structure is of course perfect. It has of course a wonderful rhyme. We have fruitfulness, sun, bless, run, trees. So we have a beautiful poem with a lot of lyrical quality. Say strong emotions, then of course musical quality. So we can say that this poem is a wonderful lyrical poem. And now we come to the next question, that is of course the essay question. And when we answer the essay question, we have to of course write about the life of the poet. We have to write about all the achievements of the poet, all the important incidents in the life of the poet, all the important literary poetical contribution of the poet, and the context and the significance of the very poem, and a very descriptive analysis, critical appreciation of the entire poem from line number title to end. So our question is, Ode to Autumn is one of the thematically rich odes of English literature. Discuss. Okay, so do you agree with the fact that this is a thematically rich ode, Ode to Autumn? And the theme is of course, yeah, it's an ode. So first is of course it's an ode, and we know that an ode is of course a poem that is of course addressed to a lyrical poem that is addressed to something, and here autumn season is being addressed, Ode to Autumn, and the poet is speaking to the autumn season. It's a lyrical poem, it's a lot of lyrical qualities. And now of course thematically it's about autumn, and all the different aspects of autumn is expressed in the poem. So we'll be writing about the poet John Keats. We'll be writing about his literary career, his achievements, important poems. We will be writing about the problems in his life and his success as a poet. And we'll come to the very poem, that is Ode to Autumn. Stanza 1, what do we have? Stanza 2, what do we have? Stanza 3, what do we have? And summarization, rather a conclusion, in which we say that this is of course a poem which is perfect, and according to Alan Tate, according to F.R. Lewis, according to Harold Bloom, this poem is the best poem. And now we come to the yet another essay question. How does Keats convey the theme of death and rebirth through death in Ode to Autumn? So we have the autumn season, and we know that autumn season is the last season of the year, winter being the first season. Winter is followed by spring and summer, and thereafter we have the autumn season. And autumn season is the last season in the cyclical process of the passage of time, or in an year. And autumn season, okay, just like we have 365 days, and last maybe 90 plus or 80 plus days are the season of autumn season. And we can say that like the year is ending, like our life is ending. Yeah, we are born, we die. Similarly, of course, an year is born in winter, and of course then we have spring, summer, and autumn season. So a year has birth and death. A day has birth and death. Our life has birth and death. And the birth of a day is morning. The death of the day is, of course, one day is evening or night. Similarly, we have the winter season, the spring season, the summer season, autumn season. Similarly, we can say that everything is maturing. Flowers, fruits, and everything is maturing. When it is mature, we collect it, we reap it, and that could be something like death. Similarly, okay, so although it is mature, although it is collected and it dies, the seed will just sprout again. Similarly, each of us come from God, live our life here, we die, and that death is not the end of everything. We're going to be born again. So this process of birth, life, death, rebirth, we are always accompanied by death. This moment my heart may fail and I may die. Similarly, everybody. But it is not end of our life. That moment of death, we are physically dead, but our spirit will rise up. And as we know, in every religion, we have, of course, life after death. So the spirit never dies, only the physic dies. And of course, so autumn season is about death and rebirth through death. So we die, but we just we have life after death. Similarly, all the flowers, all in the flowers we have of course seeds. In the fruits we have seeds, and these flowers and fruits would be maybe used by, sometimes the flower wither away, sometimes the fruits are eaten, but the seed is not eaten. The seed is of course kept there, and it would just fall down and perish, decay, but from soil it rises again. So a perfect poem, and it is about the theme of death and rebirth. Great message to us. And now another message is of course when we live our life, let us live it sincere. Let us live a sincere life. Let us just see that we are just using all our potential. We grow fully. That is mellow fruitfulness. Our life should have some kind of fruitfulness. Our life must be meaningful. We should live sincere life. We should not waste time. We should help others, like the flowers, the fruits, the bees, and other creatures. Alright, now we come to the activities for students to of course improve their language. Comment on the ode to autumn with other significant romantic odes. Show how they are similar and dissimilar in tone, mood, and theme. Shelley's ode to the west wind, Coleridge's detection and ode, Keats' own ode to Nightingale can be used some identical pieces. So students, please get books or download the PDF files of these songs or other poems, read it, enjoy it, make a comparison. You will improve your language. Next question. This is how Keats conveys the idea of nature through poetic images. Find out similar works and say how they employ nature to suggest the cycle of life and death. So Keats has of course written a lot of beautiful poetry. One is Ode to Autumn, another one is of course Ode on a Creation End, Ode on a Creation End, and of course all the other poems like Endymion, La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, Lamia 1 and 2, or Looking into Chapman's. Okay, so many of the articles or poems or works by Keats, we can see the very representation of nature and of course the very concept of life and life after death, or rebirth through death. So with this we come to the end of the discussion of the great poem Ode to Autumn of John Keats. Please go through the first video in which we have a very detailed analysis of the life, literary career and contribution of John Keats. We also have a critical appreciation and analysis of the poem Ode to Autumn. Please watch that. So we have two videos on John Keats and Ode to Autumn. Thank you very much for listening. May God bless you all.